This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Fried chicken, cheese curds, or anything you didn't eat this weekend, man, or this past week?
No, probably hit most of it.
Anything and everything. Did you win any money, like Tommy was insinuating?
No, I'm not a big casino guy. Now, I did play the horses at a sports book, but I'm not a big casino guy. You can lose that money pretty quickly at a casino. So no, I didn't hit much on the horses. So overall, I played it pretty safe. To be honest with you,
he's being modest, Tommy. He already sent in his resignation to Whole Hog Sports. He won it big down there in Vegas.
Hit the classics.
Yeah.
Six. I'm not going to lie. This is the last week with you guys. I appreciate the time with you, but
well, if
everything's going on.
Well, we were just hoping to maybe be your chauffeur someday. That was ultimately what we wanted out of it.
We'll negotiate.
All right. Well, that's good.
Smart on your part.
So, well, a lot going on, and I know when we talk recruiting, it's all changed. Just like seems like everything changed now. It's your focus has to become transfer portal, and this basketball team, Richard, I'm sure is your focus, like everybody else. Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? And what are you feeling? What are you reading out there? Because that seems to be a lot of people coming on campus. We went through a lot of names, and seems like Anthony Ruda's been out on the road. Muss has been busy. Busy time for the basketball program.
Yeah, no doubt. And with kids still getting into the portal, it's kind of a very fluid situation. Obviously, they've visited with some guys and had some visitors, but I think right now it's a really a fluid situation. Just trying to figure out, who exactly, with all the new additions to the portal, I think the board kind of evolves every day, and I think that that's part of the process. I don't think you'll probably see any additional visitors probably until after the dead period ends over the weekend. I think maybe next week or the following week you'll start seeing some visitors, but it's just madness. It really is. I can't imagine. You're visiting with kids, you're talking to kids, and then boom, here comes another guy that you kind of maybe thought that might enter the portal, has entered the portal, and you really like him. So it's kind of like a buffet, oh, you really like this one, and then bam, you get to the next line, and there's another item on the buffet that you really like. So I think it's just craziness, but obviously Coach Muss and the staff, they're very organized and very detailed about everything they do. So, not too long from now, we'll probably have an idea where we stand.
Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. Richard, on that subject, on every single player that you hear or see Arkansas reach out to, do you try and communicate and talk with every one of them, or you just kind of pick your spots?
You pick your spot. I think, Coach Muss kind of hit on that. Just because they reach out to them doesn't mean that necessarily that there's a lot of communication, that they evaluate each kid that they see in the portal and contact. A lot of it is with kids nowadays. You kind of have to be, one of the teams that reaches out initially. I think that kind of makes an impression on kids, and kids, some guys have mentioned that in the past. Arkansas was one of the first ones to reach out, and they had really kind of, caught their attention. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an in. I mean, I think for the most part, it's not a huge deal, but for some kids it is. No, you contact, and then you evaluate, and you decide whether to go forward or not. So, the communication with, all the kids that you see that are associated with Arkansas, it's not with every kid. It may be initially that one time, hey, just checking in, we may be interested or we're interested, and then they decide whether to go forward or not.
Richard, have you had a chance to communicate with Khalil Ware, who entered his name in the portal out of Oregon, a young man out of North Little Rock that elected to go out west? Is there potential mutual interest between Arkansas and him, or is he elected? Do you think he ends up going somewhere else from Eugene?
That's a good question. I haven't been able to get in contact, but obviously he made an official visit to Arkansas during the recruiting process. Very familiar with the program. He decided to go out of state. It seemed like he kind of wanted to had that in mind from the get go, that he wanted to go out of state. Does he want to continue to do that? Now, don't know. Sometimes things change once you go out of state and you experience life outside of Arkansas, and maybe things look a little better when maybe Arkansas looks a little better than from the initial time that he was recruited. So really don't have a lot of information on that, but he's a young man that obviously went through the process and had options initially, and then decided to go out of state. Whether or not he stays out of state or not, I guess we'll find out shortly.
What's important when you're recruiting a kid? You got maybe a week or two, or maybe a few days in this portal process, versus when you recruit a high school kid, you're working on that relationship and you get to know them over a 2 or 3 year period. What has to get conveyed in that compressed time that the coaches get in when a kid may enter the portal and you got hours or days to make your case?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, Tommy. It basically is a very condensed recruiting process, and you have to make your points and show why your school and your staff is a better fit, and I guarantee you they have a process of doing that with each and every kid that they reach out to in the portal. And then the kids are a lot more mature in this process because they've gone through it before, and several times. And so there's a lot of these kids they're on their second or third school, so you're dealing with a more mature, a more seasoned type kid when it comes to the recruiting process. So maybe you hit on different points that you'd hit. You hit on different points with an older guy versus maybe a high school kid. But it's definitely a very intense time for these guys in the portal.
You mentioned the dead period ending this weekend. Sam Pittman's talked about the portal period opening up again on the 15th of April. Walk the audience through all the key dates here, because I know that over the next 30 days, there's a lot of important dates for basketball and football, both with this portal period that's coming up and this dead period that's ending.
Right. The dead period I was referring to was basketball, but with football, it's not a dead period. They'll have some visitors. Arkansas football will have some visitors on campus on Saturday for the scrimmage, and then the staff, I'm pretty sure, are going to the Arkansas Derby after the scrimmage. The scrimmage is at 10 o'clock. Coach Pittman and the staff usually, that's a tradition to go into the Derby on Saturday. And then, the 15th, when it reopens, as far as the football portal, it's going to be interesting. And there's no doubt, there's already been, not necessarily kids, that's a possibility, but people that are associated with football kids that are looking to transfer, have already reached out to colleges, and I'm sure Arkansas, and said, hey, Tommy Kraft is interested in coming to the school.
Yep.
He'll be entering the portal on the 15th. So they probably have a pretty good idea who's coming in, and there'll probably be some surprises too. There always are in that case, but and then you'll start having some official visitors, and it's it's just like basketball right now. It'd be kind of fast and furious. Probably not as much so because most of the guys, most schools have already kind of filled up a good portion of their class as far as transfer portal kids, but it'd definitely be a busy time.
And that runs to what, May 15th? The football portal period?
I believe so. I've been so busy with basketball, I haven't even focused on football, to be honest with you.
Isn't that wild how back in the day, Richard, I would guess 10 or so years ago, and maybe even a little more than that or earlier than that, it just changed the dynamic, the portal. And then basketball, I know you've spoken to this before, just how much more do you have to concentrate on recruiting based on the activity that Muss and the staff continuously do each and every week, especially in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's just totally changed everything. Obviously, we've talked about it before, the high school kids and the impact that it's made on them. I get it that the portal's here to stay, but it has some good parts, but the bad parts are, you're really not developing high school kids very much. Like you used to, and now it's you're going for the older guys, and I get it. Each college team has to focus on that, football and basketball, and even baseball and other sports. But I kind of hate it for the high school kids.
Last thing, Richard, you spoke to Coach Pittman and company going to the Arkansas Derby. I know he was joking about a press conference or two ago that he can't do an NCAA tournament bracket because of college betting rules, but he can bet on the ponies. Any idea what horse he might take a likening to this weekend?
No, not offhand. I tell you what, Coach Pittman knows the horses. He's very educated about the horses, and I think he does pretty good when he goes to Oakland or he plays online or whatever he does, as far as his bets. But he's just like anybody that you would think that as a football coach, he's very thorough about the horses and what he likes, and he's very knowledgeable. I can tell you that. I know that for sure.
Well, I bet they have a good weekend. Everyone else that goes this weekend, we're going to be there tomorrow. Can't wait. Richard, appreciate it, man. Glad you had fun in Vegas. Glad you had some cheese curds, fried chicken, and everything else under the sun. And we'll talk next week as we keep an eye and keep monitoring what's going on with the Arkansas basketball team in this portal.
Sounds good, guys. We'll talk to you then.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your college basketball betting this season. Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds, bracket contests, team matchups, and game trends at BetOnline. Updated odds for everything from live games right through the Final Four and the championship game. BetOnline is where your college basketball headquarters are this season. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts.